Artemis 9 moved through silent space like a small spark in a dark ocean, and no one on board knew that this day would change the fate of humanity forever. The crew had been traveling for 6 days toward the strange signal that their scanners had picked up from the edge of forbidden space. Most signals were noise, but this one felt different. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, and every pulse carried power far beyond anything humans had seen before. The mission logs described it as a harmless research trip, yet everyone on Artemis 9 sensed something was wrong. Captain Rian stood at the front window, watching the stars stretch and twist around the ship. His hands stayed tight behind his back, and his eyes never left the strange region of space ahead. He had seen war, he had seen strange alien ruins, but he had never felt a warning in his bones like this one. The crew stayed quiet. Even the ship's AI spoke in a lower, calmer tone, as if afraid to disturb something ancient. The closer they came to the source, the more the signal changed. It was no longer a simple heartbeat. It sounded like something trying to wake up. Something big. Something old. The ship trembled each time their sensors touched it. Ensign Lyra checked her screen again and again, hoping it was an error, but it never changed. The power levels were rising. The signal was responding to them. When Artemis 9 finally broke into the dark sector, everyone froze. Before them floated a massive object. It was bigger than a moon but shaped almost like a sleeping creature. Metallic plates covered its surface, cracked in many places, glowing faint blue under ancient dust. Strange markings crawled across the structure like veins. No one could read them. No database recognized them. It looked dead, abandoned. But the glow inside it said something different. Something alive was inside. Something waiting. The crew whispered among themselves, trying to understand what they were looking at. Captain Rian ordered a full scan, though his voice carried doubt. The moment the scan beam touched the surface of the giant structure, everything changed. The lights on Artemis 9 flickered. The engines gave a deep, vibrating groan. Lyra grabbed her seat as the floor shook. The AI warned of energy spikes everywhere. The ancient structure's blue cracks turned bright white, as if something inside was opening its eyes after thousands of years. A huge shockwave burst outward. It slammed into Artemis 9 so hard that the whole ship rolled to one side. Everyone fell. Sparks flew. Screens shattered. The shockwave did not stop there. It traveled out into the depths of the galaxy, growing stronger as it spread, like a roaring voice calling across every star system. Captain Rian forced himself up. "What did we do?" he whispered. But no answer came. The ship's translator started spitting out unknown symbols. It could not understand the message coming from the structure. But the tone was clear. It was not friendly. It was not calm. It was angry. The alien structure seemed to lock onto them. Panels on its surface shifted. Something like an eye opened, staring at the ship with cold, ancient intelligence. Artemis 9 tried to turn around and leave, but their engines refused to respond. It felt like an invisible hand had grabbed them. Gravity fields tightened around the ship. The AI screamed warnings. Power levels dropped low. The crew watched in horror as lines of energy crawled from the structure toward their hull, like claws reaching for them. The message changed again, louder now. The symbols shook the speakers. The crew covered their ears. The sound felt alive, like a beast roaring in the dark. Captain Rian shouted for emergency power, but nothing worked. The alien structure was pulling information from their ship, reading everything inside their systems. It knew who they were. It knew they were human. And then, it stopped. Everything became silent. The lights dimmed. No one spoke. The alien structure floated quietly again, but the white glow from its veins did not fade. It stayed awake. Watching. Moments later, a ripple moved across the stars. It was not something the human eye could see, but the scanners showed everything. The shockwave they had triggered had reached other star systems. It touched alien borders, alien colonies, and alien fleets. Communications lit up across space. Entire empires went on high alert. War signals activated. Every species that saw the pulse began pointing fingers. Someone had awakened something. Someone had broken an ancient rule. More shockwaves followed, faster and stronger. The galaxy started to panic. Inside the ship, fear grew heavy. Artemis 9 had no idea what they had awakened. They only knew one thing. They were the cause. They had triggered something massive. Something called the Vrakun Dominion, though they did not know that name yet. They only felt its presence, its hunger, its rising power. Lyra whispered, "We should have never come here." Captain Rian agreed, but it was too late. The ancient structure pulsed once more, and this time, it sent a clear message, one that did not need translation. It was a warning. A promise. A threat. Humanity had awakened a sleeping giant. And now, the giant was coming. Artemis 9 drifted helplessly as distant alien ships appeared on long-range scanners. Dozens of them. Maybe more. They were not here to help. They had come to see the humans who caused the awakening. To judge them. To hunt them. The crew stared at the stars, knowing they might not make it home. Knowing the galaxy would soon be on fire because of one mistake. But deep inside the terrifying silence, another thought grew, small but fierce. If humanity had started this war by accident, they would survive it on purpose. Artemis 9 finally managed to restart one of its engines, but it only gave a slow, weak hum. The ship felt wounded, like a tired animal trying to stand. Captain Rian ordered minimum power, hoping not to attract more attention. The alien structure behind them stayed still, watching like a sleeping monster with one eye open. Nobody dared speak too loudly. Even the AI lowered its voice, as if afraid the structure might hear them. The crew worked quickly, hands shaking, trying to repair the systems. But the biggest worry was not the damage. It was the unknown contact signals approaching from the far side of the dark sector. Long-range scans showed multiple alien ships moving fast. They were not from the same species. They were not allies. It was clear they were all rushing toward the shockwave source. Toward Artemis 9. The galaxy wanted to know who woke the ancient power. Inside the ship, tension rose. The air felt heavy. No one could sit. No one could breathe without feeling fear tightening around their chest. Lyra wiped sweat from her forehead and looked at Captain Rian. "Sir, what are we going to tell them?" Rian did not look away from the scanner. "The truth." "But they won't believe us," she whispered. He knew she was right. Too many empires hated humanity already. Too many believed humans were reckless, unpredictable, always pushing boundaries. And now, they were trapped near the most dangerous object the galaxy had ever seen. The alien ships came closer. 3, 5, then 10. Their energy signatures flashed across Artemis 9's screens. Some belonged to the Kether, a war-loving reptile race. Others to the gentle Cellari, who would never enter this space unless desperate. And a few belonged to unknown species with dark, cold reactor signals that made the crew's skin crawl. All of them came for one reason. Someone had awakened the Vrakun. As the alien ships slowed near Artemis 9, they formed a silent circle, like predators surrounding a confused animal. No one fired. No one spoke. For a moment, everything was perfectly still. Then the first message arrived. It was from the Kether flagship, and even before translation, the tone was sharp, full of anger. The words came through the speakers like claws scratching metal. "Human ship Artemis 9, the voice growled, you stand at the center of a forbidden space. You have triggered a power that sleeps deeper than time. Explain yourselves." Rian felt every eye in the room on him. He answered calmly, "We came here for research. We detected a signal and investigated. We did not mean to wake anything." A heavy silence followed. The reply came colder. Humans always say they did not mean to do something. Yet something always explodes. Another ship spoke next. A Cellari female, her voice soft but full of fear. "Artemis 9, do you understand what you have awakened? This is no machine. No station. It is a Dominion warden. A guard from the age of extinction. Entire empires vanished because of them." Before Rian could respond, the strange structure behind them pulsed again. A bright white flash passed through all ships. Everyone froze. Then, something even worse happened. The structure sent out a new message. This time, the translation systems cracked it open. 3 chilling words appeared on every screen. First target, humanity. The bridge went silent. Lyra's breath caught. The alien stared, shocked, speechless. Even the Kether captain, always hot-blooded, did not speak for several seconds. Then the reactions came. Anger. Fear. Accusations. Voices shouted over each other on comms. "You woke it. You brought this on all of us. The Dominion returns because of humans. You must answer for this." As the shouting grew louder, Artemis 9's sensors detected something even more terrifying. From deep space, far behind the structure, new energy signatures appeared. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They were forming a fleet. Not just any fleet. A Dominion fleet. Ships older than history, shaped like blades and shadows, moved with deadly silence. Their engines glowed a sick, hungry red. They were coming. The alien ships panicked. Some tried to run. Others tried to form a battle line. But the Dominion fleet was too big. Too fast. Too powerful. Artemis 9 shook as gravitational waves hit them. Lyra screamed a warning. "They're locking onto us. They want us first. They." A blast hit the ship so hard the lights exploded. Sparks rained down. The floor tilted. People fell across the bridge. A Dominion hunter ship had fired a warning shot, slicing past their hull like a knife. The next shot would not miss. Rian crawled to the controls, his voice raw. "Full power. Get us out of here." "But the engines." "Do it." Artemis 9 roared weakly, but the Dominion ships were closing fast. Their red lights blinked like hungry eyes. In the middle of chaos, one thought burned inside Rian's mind. The ancient power wanted humanity dead. The galaxy blamed them. And none of them would escape unless they fought with everything they had. The war had not started yet. But the first blow was about to fall. Artemis 9 pushed its damaged engines until they cried out, but the Dominion hunter ships closed in like sharp shadows cutting through the dark. Their red lights flashed slowly, almost calmly, as if they were not chasing prey but collecting something that already belonged to them. The Dominion did not see humans as a threat, only as a target to erase. Captain Rian gripped the controls with shaking hands while smoke filled the bridge. One more hit, and the ship would fall apart. Lyra tried to reroute power, her fingers moving fast even though she could barely see the screen through the smoke and broken glass. "Sir, they're matching our moves. We can't outrun them." Rian already knew. The Dominion hunter ships were from another age, built with technology no one understood. Their movements were smooth, silent, perfect. Every time Artemis 9 turned, they were already there, waiting. Watching. Hunting. Another alarm screamed. The AI's voice stuttered. "Warning. Dominion vessel charging weapon, impact in 15 seconds. Everyone froze. 15 seconds until destruction. 15 seconds until the story of Artemis 9 ended. Lyra looked at Rian with fear in her eyes. "Sir, what do we do?" Before he could answer, something unexpected happened. A Cellari ship moved between Artemis 9 and the Dominion Hunter. It was smaller, built for research, not combat. It did not stand a chance. But it stood there anyway. The Dominion weapon fired, and the Cellari ship took the full hit. A blinding white explosion burst across the darkness. Pieces of the ship scattered like sparks. The bridge fell silent. They had just watched an entire ship die trying to protect them. Rian whispered, "Why would they do that?" Because even the aliens who feared humans more than anything knew one truth. If the Dominion destroyed the humans first, the rest of the galaxy would fall next. The Dominion hunters did not pause. They turned their red lights back toward Artemis 9, gliding forward like demons rising from mist. More energy built inside their weapons. The Kether warships finally opened fire, launching beams of bright green light. Their shots cut through the darkness, striking the hunters head-on. But the Dominion ships absorbed the hits like rain. No damage. No slowing. Only cold, endless advance. One Kether captain roared over comms, "They feel nothing. What are these monsters?" Artemis 9 trembled as gravity waves surged again. The Dominion fleet behind the structure grew bigger, filling the scanner with red markers. Hundreds of ships. Maybe thousands. They were forming lines. Battle formations. It looked like an army preparing to reclaim the galaxy. And they still wanted humans first. "Impact in 10 seconds, the AI whispered. Rian slammed his hand onto the emergency override. "Prepare for blind jump." The crew gasped. Blind jumping without coordinates was suicide. They could end up inside a star, a black hole, or worse. But staying here meant guaranteed death. The ship began charging its broken warp engine. Sparks flew from the floor. The lights flickered again. Dominion hunters aimed their weapons. 6 seconds. "Come on!" Lyra cried, pushing power through burning circuits. 3 seconds. A Dominion hunter opened its jaws. The weapon glow filled Artemis 9's window like a rising sun. 2. Then something impossible happened. The ancient structure, the one that Artemis 9 had awakened, pulsed again. But this time, it sent power not outward, but downward. Into the space beneath them. The darkness cracked open like thin glass. A hidden wormhole formed, swirling, bright, unstable, like a storm made of blue fire. Artemis 9 shook violently as its engines locked onto the wormhole's pull. The crew screamed as the ship lurched forward. The Dominion hunters fired at the same moment Artemis 9 dropped. The beams missed by inches. The ship fell into the wormhole, spinning wildly, and the light swallowed everything. The bridge blurred. Colors twisted. The crew felt their bodies stretch and shrink at the same time. Every sound became a long echo. Every breath felt cold and heavy. Then, silence. Artemis 9 shot out the other side of the wormhole, crashing into normal space. The ship spun until reinforced the stabilizers online. The engine sputtered. The lights flickered, but they stayed on. Everyone lay still for several seconds, unable to speak. They were alive. But where were they? Lyra checked the scanners and felt her heart drop. "Sir, this region. I don't recognize it." The AI spoke softly. "Location unknown. No star matches any known chart. No signals detected. We are outside mapped space. Outside mapped space. Outside the galaxy's known borders. Thrown somewhere by an ancient machine that should not even exist." Rian stood up slowly. "So the structure didn't kill us?" "No," Lyra said, her voice trembling. "It sent us away." "Why?" Rian whispered. No one answered. Because there was only one possibility. The ancient Dominion knew humans were the first threat. But the structure, the Warden, wanted humanity alive. At least for now. Suddenly the scanner beeped. A faint signal appeared in the distance. Not Dominion. Not alien. Human. Rian's eyes widened. Another human ship? Out here? Lyra stared. Sir, the ID code is old. Very old. Almost 100 years. That ship should not even exist. The signal repeated. Weak. Broken. Calling out like a ghost in the dark. They were not alone. And whatever was waiting out here, knew they were coming. The weak human signal continued to echo through the dark region like a fading heartbeat. Artemis 9 drifted toward it slowly, engine struggling, hull shaking with every small movement. No one spoke. Everyone watched the screen as the signal grew a little stronger, a little clearer, like a voice whispering from the past. Lyra stared at the code on her monitor. Sir, this ship ID, it's from the early expansion era. Before the first Alliance wars. Rian frowned. Those ships never reached this far. They didn't even have the range. That's why this doesn't make sense, she whispered. The signal flickered again. A soft crackling sound filled the room. Is anyone there? The voice was human, but old, tired, almost broken. Like someone who had been calling for help for years and had lost all hope. Artemis 9 slowed as a shape appeared in the distance. At first, it looked like a shadow wrapped in fog. But as they came closer, the details became clear. It was a ship, an ancient human cruiser named Solace. Its hull was covered with deep scars and strange glowing marks, as if something had tried to burn symbols into it. Half the ship was missing, torn away. The other half floated lifelessly, kept intact only by failing energy fields. Rian whispered, how is it still running? Nobody knew. They approached carefully. No lights came from inside. No movement. Only the repeating distress signal, looping endlessly. Is anyone there? Please. The voice made the crew shiver. Humanity had never recorded anything like this. If Solace had been drifting out here for a century, who sent the message? Who was still alive? Or worse, what was using the ship to call them? Artemis 9 extended a docking bridge. Metal creaked as the connection locked in place. The crew prepared to board, though fear twisted in every stomach. Stepping into that dead ship felt like stepping into a grave. Rian led the team inside. The air was cold. Very cold. Their boots echoed through empty halls. Walls were scratched with long, strange marks. Some looked like claws. Others looked like writing, but no human language. The lights flickered weakly, powered by a dying reactor somewhere deep inside. Lyra held her scanner tight. No life signs, or maybe the ship can't read them. That possibility made everyone more nervous. They walked farther. Shadows stretched across the hall, long and thin, as if something tall had once walked there. They reached the bridge. The doors were stuck half open, as if something forced them apart with great strength. Inside, the captain's chair was empty. The screens were dark. Dust floated like frozen snow. But then Lyra gasped. She pointed at the main console. Someone had carved words into it with shaking hands. It watches from the dark. Rian felt cold crawl up his back. What watches? Before anyone could answer, the distress signal changed. A new voice whispered through the ship's speakers, but this one did not sound human. It sounded old. Heavy. Tired. Like stone grinding on stone. You should not be here. Artemis 9's crew froze. The voice continued, slow and cold. Solace was taken. Its crew, consumed. You walk in a place where light does not belong. Rian pressed his hand against his calm. Who are you? Silence. Then the voice answered. We are what remains. The last mind of the Solace crew. We hid ourselves inside the ship core, to escape the Dominion. You escaped? Lyra whispered. No, we survived, the voice said, trembling. But not all, survived as humans. The crew exchanged frightened looks. Rian spoke carefully. Why did the Dominion come after your ship? Because humanity holds a secret, the voice said. A secret older than the Dominion. A secret they fear. Rian's breath caught. What secret? A long pause. Then. You, awakened the warden. It saw you. It remembered you. And now, the Dominion fears what humans can become again. Again. The word struck everyone like a blade. Lyra stepped forward. What do you mean again? Humanity was never a power like the Dominion. The voice began to fade, distort, like a radio slipping away. You do not know your past. The warden knows. The Dominion knows. That is why they marked you first. You carry a. The signal cut. Everything went dark. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the ship. Something moved in the lower decks. Something heavy. Something dragging. The ancient ship groaned. Metal bent somewhere deep inside. The voice returned, panicked now. It found us. You must leave. Now. Rian shouted, back to Artemis, 9, move. They ran through the halls, hearing the thudding steps behind them. The shadows on the walls shifted. Something followed. Something tall. Something fast. A shape with long limbs and glowing cracks across its body, like pieces of the warden itself had crawled inside this dead ship. They reached the docking bridge. Alarms blared. Artemis, 9 pulled away the moment they jumped inside. The bridge detached just as long, clawed hands slammed into the metal, tearing it open. The creature roared silently in space, red eyes burning like Dominion fire. The Solace collapsed behind it, breaking apart as if the presence inside no longer needed it. Artemis, 9 escaped. But the crew knew one terrible truth. Whatever survived on Solace was hunting humans. And it was not the only one. Artemis, 9 pulled away from the collapsing Solace, but the crew stayed frozen, staring out the window as the strange creature floated in space, its glowing cracks pulsing like a heartbeat. It watched them leave. It did not chase. It only watched, as if studying them, learning them, remembering them. Rian's voice broke the silence. Get us to minimum safe distance. Now. The engines groaned, dragging the ship farther from the wreck. Lyra trembled at her station. Her hands could not stop shaking. Sir, whatever that thing was, it wasn't human anymore. Rian did not answer. He already knew. A Dominion warden had touched the Solace long ago. Something inside the ship had survived, but it had changed into something unnatural. Something that carried the Dominion's mark. The AI beeped softly. Captain, the entity is scanning us. Lyra looked up sharply. Scanning? From that far? Yes, the AI whispered. It is reading us like the structure did. The crew exchanged fearful glances. If the creature could scan them from this distance, then it was more dangerous than anything they had met so far. A message flashed across Lyra's screen, a single symbol, glowing red. What is that? She whispered. Rian stared at it quietly. A warning. The symbol blinked once more, then disappeared. The creature turned its head away from them, almost bored, and drifted back toward the broken pieces of Solace. The crew did not speak for a long time. No one knew how to describe what they had seen. No one knew if they were safe. Finally, Rian turned to his team. We need answers. Real answers. And we won't find them out here. But we can't go back to known space, Lyra said. The Dominion is waiting. They marked humanity as the first target. Rian nodded. And that means, there must be a reason. And we need to know why. The AI suddenly spoke with a tone it never used before. Captain. I have analyzed the symbols carved inside Solace. They match the markings on the Warden structure. Lyra's eyes widened. You mean the Warden wrote inside the Solace? No, the AI said. The crew wrote the warnings. But the symbols around them, those were responses. Rian felt his stomach drop. Responses to what? The AI paused. According to the pattern, the crew asked the Warden something. What did they ask? Lyra pressed. Another long pause. They asked why the Dominion feared humans. The room fell silent again. And the Warden answered, the AI said. But the message was incomplete. Damaged. Only fragments remain. Show us the fragments, Rian ordered. The screen flickered. Strange alien symbols appeared, then shifted into simple English translation. You were not always small. Another fragment appeared. The Dominion destroyed what you were. A final fragment blinked faintly. But some of it still lives. Lyra stepped back, fear and confusion mixing in her voice. What does that mean? Humans were something else. Rian felt the truth forming like a storm. The Dominion didn't just appear long ago. They fought someone. They feared someone. And the Warden says that someone was us. Lyra shook her head. That's impossible. Humans weren't even in space back then. Maybe we were, Rian whispered. Just not like this. Not like who we are now. Before they could speak more, the ship rocked violently. Lights dimmed. Alarms blared. Captain, the AI shouted. Something is pulling us. The crew ran to the windows. Space outside twisted like liquid. The stars bent and folded, dragging Artemis 9 toward a swirling dark fog that hadn't been there moments ago. Lyra grabbed a rail. Is it a wormhole? No, Rian whispered. It's something else. The fog cracked open, revealing a glowing tunnel of white light. The ship was being forced toward it. Not pushed. Pulled. Called. This is the same energy signature as the Warden, the AI warned. Rian froze. It's summoning us. The crew panicked. We can't go. We just escaped. Captain, stop it. Rian tried to activate reverse thrusters, but the engines refused. Gravity twisted violently. The ship leaned. The floor shook. Panels popped from the walls. Lyra screamed, something inside the ship is responding, like it's talking to the tunnel. Rian's heart pounded. Talking? What do you mean? The AI cut him off. Captain, the Warden left something inside our systems when we first scanned it. Rian's eyes widened. A code? No, the AI whispered. A key. The tunnel glowed brighter. The ship tilted forward. Everyone fell as Artemis 9 was dragged into the white light. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a voice filled the ship. Not loud. Not angry. Calm. Endless. Ancient. Your past calls to you. Rian felt every hair on his body rise. Who is speaking? The voice answered slowly. You awakened me. You carry my memory. You carry the strength your kind once had. Lyra gasped. You're the Warden. Light swallowed everything. The bridge vanished. The stars vanished. Only the voice remained. It is time you learn what the Dominion tried to erase. Artemis 9 shot out of the tunnel, and the crew found themselves staring at something none of them could believe. A city. A human city. Floating in space. Glowing with a technology far beyond anything humanity had ever built. Perfect. Ancient. Alive. Rian whispered the only words that came to his mind. This is impossible. But the voice answered. This is where your true story begins.